Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I'm your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. Joining me today to talk about one of the most absurd goaltending performances in very recent history, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing all right. I think last night's slate was one of the worst in recent memory. Maybe since the Ben Scrivens 59 save shutout, but I don't know. That was a brutal slate.
Yeah, getting Scrivens is a term that we use every once in a while. If somebody's newer to DFS, there was a goalie for Edmonton named Ben Scrivens. I think it was in 2014. Had his 57 save shutout. And I remember playing DFS that night, and yes, you absolutely needed Ben Scrivens in your lineup to win any money. But yeah, Carl, let's talk about last night's slate. Let's review it a little bit. Karl Vejmelka, the Arizona goalie, was it 46, 48 saves?
Something ridiculous like that. I think it was 46.
Yeah, I think Winnipeg had 23 or 24 shots after the first period alone. Just couldn't break through. And that's why we always talk about goalies getting volume on the road. Now, obviously, a 48 save shutout is a very outlier performance. But even if he gives up 3 goals in that game, he still has a very good night. And that's the importance of getting volume. You can't project, 50 shots. But it's why we talk about goalies going up against Carolina or goalies go up against Florida and those types of things. Because if they don't score 4 or 5 goals, the goalies can have a really good game.
Yeah. And I saw some people play the Jets and use that goalie. On a shorter slate, I guess that's more viable. Because if he gave up 3 and still got the saves bonus, he didn't kill you. But I was looking at the shots, where they're taking the shots. Man, they were taking a lot of lame wristers from the blue line last night. So 46 pretty. The Jets really did not have many high danger scoring chances last night, which is crazy.
I think that's a good point to make. Is I did watch a lot of that game, and they were shooting, but it's not like they were whipping passes all across the offensive zone, and Vejmelka was stretching and making these crazy glove saves all the time. Like you said, there were point shots from the face-off dot, and things like that. So yeah, he had a huge night. Our good buddy Slewfoot had him in some lineups and won a lot of money last night. So Slewfoot, if you're watching, I imagine you're not, because you have better things to do with your time than watch us. Good night. I didn't have a good night. I didn't come anywhere as close to cashing, obviously. I only played a single lineup. I went Winnipeg power play and then a couple Montreal 3 guys. Montreal, I mean, that's a team that I think – I know they're not good. Believe me, I know that I'm a Montreal fan. I'm very well aware that they're not good, but their prices are cheap enough generally that there are pieces there that we can't overlook them on any given night. But I think line combinations are something to really keep in mind, because there are some players, I'm thinking like Josh Anderson. Josh Anderson is a bull in a china shop. He's just not a possession player. You know what I mean? So I think Montreal is a team. I'm not sure about full stacking, but they do seem to have some one-off guys like Arturi Lehkonen that could do some damage in slates moving forward.
Yeah, he's cheap. He was 2,600 last night. He played 16 minutes. He's been shooting. Last season, I remember there was a good stretch where he led the team in shot attempts for a decent stretch too. It wasn't just 3 games. It was a month. So it's just tough to full stack anybody, but getting those cheap guys when you're power play stacking could be advantageous going forward.
Yeah, and maybe they'll even get a new coach now that they've started to clean house.
That would definitely help.
Yeah, we are not big fans of Dominique Ducharme around here. There was not a whole lot else to talk about that 4-game slate last night. I suppose the only thing I want to mention is that just briefly, Seattle's a good team. At the very least, they're not as bad as they showed in the first month of the season. It was all goaltending. They're not an offensive juggernaut. They're not going to score 4 goals a game or even 7 like they did last night. But they're a team we have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and the only reason they've been so bad to start the season is their goaltending has been atrocious. Their defensive numbers are good. Their goaltending has been up there with the worst in the league. So that will all regress to where it needs to regress to. I don't even know, because there's not samples on it, but it can't run that bad all season. And I see myself on camera. I got a new laptop. I'm not pixelated anymore. This is great. I'm live and in living color. Damn, I look good.
Yeah, Josh looking fresh with that.
Come
new
see how
laptop.
good I look.
Yeah, the Islanders jersey really popping in the background. So very good stuff from for your laptop from you for the start of the show. I see about 70 people watching and about 30 likes. If you guys could throw us a thumbs up, give us a like to try to help us get to the top of the algorithm here. Click that subscribe button to help us grow this channel, grow our subscriber base, and keep these shows not only in NHL, but across all sports coming on a regular basis. And be sure to click that notification button so you get notified when our shows do go live, because we have shows covering a lot of sports running, basically all day, every day here. So be sure to click that little bell. We also have free preview tools and data up on the site, as we normally do almost every day here. Today we have NBA main slate ownership projections, and we have NHL player projections. So if you want to, check out any of our projections that we talk about here on today's show, sometimes I'll talk about my own. Mostly we try to talk about the one that the website provides. So if you want to check out the NHL player projections, they are free up on the site for today, along with NBA main slate ownership projections. All right, we got 8 games to get to. Let's just jump right into this first game. Detroit 2.2 implied goal total. They're going into Boston. The Bruins have a 3.4 implied goal total. Couple big news items for Boston. First, Coach Bruce Cassidy is in COVID protocols. I'll say this as I say with every time, whenever you see players, and we're going to talk about Carolina later, whenever you see players from a team going into COVID protocol, you have to pay attention to the news for the rest of the day from that team, because there's more testing to come probably in about 3 or 4 hours from now. And if they pop positive, then they get yanked out of the lineup. So a player could theoretically be in the lineup right now, but be out in 4 hours because they pop positive. So Bruce Cassidy, coach for Boston positive, just watch for Boston news. That's all I'm saying. The second piece is Brad Marchand. Brad Marchand got himself suspended. I don't even want to talk about that guy. He got himself suspended. He's out for 3 games. Taylor Hall is jumping up to the top line, top power play unit for Boston. I assume Taylor Hall is probably going to be like 90% owned tonight, because he's only 4,200 on DraftKings. So why don't you walk us through this game, Josh?
Yeah, we know our good pal Jake Harry and his glorious jawline are going to be all in on Taylor Hall tonight, but it makes Boston one, way more affordable. They're not like 25-6. They're in the 21s tonight. They're going to get the Larkin line, which has been very high event this season. It is the wings. You look at the one thing that concerns me, aside from ownership, you look at Bergeron Pasternak's numbers with and without Marchand, and it's a big difference. Now, Taylor Hall being there, does it stabilize? I don't know. I'm willing to take some chances to find out. This is a great spot for them. I wish they put someone other than Nick Foligno on the second line, because if how we talked about how Pia Suter is very good, but like since they took Philip Zadina off that line, their numbers have cratered too. So like I really would like to get to some Boston too. Like they're at 3.4 total, getting way lower ownership than Boston won, but Nick Foligno does nothing for me. I know Jake DeBrusk has been struggling, but like even him there would have been better. Like maybe, kickstart his game a little bit. Put Eric Hall up there.
I take Anton Bleed or Carson Kuhlman at this point.
Anyone, yeah.
Not Nick Foligno.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the Leafs will trade, another 2 first-round picks to get him at the deadline again, but we'll see. But like, so with that second line, just kind of like with Foligno there, I'm going to concentrate on Boston 1 and some Boston power play stacks. And then on the flip side, like Bergeron Pasternak's numbers defensively are kind of different without Marchand too. So I don't mind. Like normally I'm like, oh no, Bergeron, no going into Bergeron, but the wings being like 1.5%, I think you can get there in MME, and you don't need much to get over the field. And fully correlated lines, I talk about all the time. Like I think you need to have some of those in MME. You don't have to go crazy. They're expensive. They're on the road. It's not a great matchup. It's 2.2 total, but that top line to me, I think you can have a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing with Detroit 1. Like I'll say up front, by my own numbers, I don't have them as a top 10 line tonight. The problem is that by ownership, we have them outside the top 20 lines by ownership. Like there's just absolutely none. Anaheim, New Jersey, Colorado, St. Louis, all these teams have lines well ahead of this Detroit top line. So I'm with you. Like I'm probably playing, I think 2 or 3 lineups tonight. I don't know if I'll get to Detroit one. If I was playing my normal 20 max lineups, I would absolutely have them probably in 2 out of 20 of my lineups. I agree with you. I think losing Marchand and like losing Marchand hurts on the penalty kill as well, right? It's not just at even strength. Like this is it's a loss for them. Like I think like he's the biggest loss up front outside of maybe Patrice Bergeron. Like I think they'd be better off without even Pasternak than without Marchand. Like I think that's how good he is. So I'm kind of out on Boston one just because I know we have them coming in at good leverage, but I just feel with Taylor Hall at 4,200. People are just going to be slamming in that Boston line, like just at a higher rate. So I really worry about that ownership. So I'm kind of out on Boston one. I'm with you on Nick Foligno. I wish that he wasn't there, but I still like that Smith Coyle 2-man just because it's cheap. So I don't mind them as a little 2-man. I hate to say it, but I'm not stacking out of this game. I don't think there's just not a lot to like here. Like Phillips, like. I would have been on probably Detroit 2 with Nick Foligno on the Boston second line, but Philip Zadina, like you said, he's been moved off that line, and I would say he's probably been the best forward on that line this year. Yeah. And it just takes a big, it takes a lot of punch away from them. So, like for me in my lineups tonight, I don't know if I'm going to be stacking out of here. In my 20 max 150s, I'd try to get over the field on Detroit one more than Boston one. Like I'd rather be 10% Detroit one than 30% Boston one tonight. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. On the blue line, I mean, there's a lot of Detroit injuries on the blue line. I think Hronek is a game time decision, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But he should, I think he should play if he's feeling well enough, like he's sick, right? With something it's not COVID. He's just sick. If he feels well enough, he'll play. But if he doesn't, it's Hronek and DeKeyser out of the lineup. So like, somebody like Lindstrom could very easily step in and play 20 minutes. But honestly, there's just nothing in this game that I really like. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to pay 6,300 for Charlie McAvoy. Like, I guess Brandon Carlo is a decent punt at 2,800, but like this game to me, in 1 to 3 is just a big mess. Like you're going to have to obviously make a decision on Boston. You can do that on your own. Hold on. But defenseman in this game, I'm looking elsewhere.
Yeah. I will say, I think my favorite play in this entire game, assuming he gets the start, is Alex Nedeljkovic in net 7,100 for Detroit. I imagine if they win this game, a lot of it's going to be a big thanks to Nedeljkovic. So I don't mind him in that. All right, let's get to this next game. Washington, 2.6 implied goal total. They're going into Florida. The Panthers have a 3.4 implied goal total. Florida moved Owen Tippett to the top line, top power play unit in their last game. He looks like he's going to stay there for this game. Very, very cheap. That brings down the cost of the top Florida line a lot compared to when other players had been skating there. The Florida top line coming in under $16,000, but they are coming in at about 20% ownership because of that 3.4 total and because of their price. So how are you handling this game, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, the ownership is a big concern, but you look at Ovechkin, Kuznetsov numbers with Protoss there, and it's a small sample, but it is not good. They're very high event defensively, giving up 14 high danger chances per 60 and almost 3 expected goals against per 60. It's a 40-man sample. It's not the best, but Alexei Protoss doesn't seem like an elite prospect by any means. Sam Bennett, Huberdeau, they're going to see minutes together. They're 20, but they're coming in projected 20%. Owen Tippett up there, like, okay, but he's not power play 1, and he's getting 17%.
He was moved there in practice, sorry.
Was he? So beautiful.
Yeah, so they're fully correlated. I think that's why the ownership might be coming.
Oh, okay, so Reinhart got moved off, or
Hornqvist got moved off.
Oh, Hornqvist, very nice. We don't have to talk about one-offing fourth line Patty Hornqvist. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's these high on these like super high owned lines tonight, and I just don't want to play them. Like, they're not like in smash spots where like, oh yeah, I'll eat the 20% on Sam Bennett. Like, yeah, the numbers aren't great, but the Caps are still a pretty good team. It's not Barkov. Like, Bennett's great, don't get me wrong. Like, getting him to Florida was great for his career, but he is not Barkov. So like at 20%, I'm probably going to be under the field. I fully understand if you want a full stack of correlated line on power play going up against the team that's pretty high vent, but at that ownership, I think there's other lines that are lower owned that I would want to play more on the Capital side. You know, with the injuries to Florida, I don't mind getting to a little bit of Caps one here. Their ownership is, you know, decent. They're really, really expensive on the road though, and that's the one thing that does give me a little bit of pause. But 2.6 total on the road, it could be a lot worse, and most of that offense is going to be to Ovechkin, Kuznetsov. Like, it runs through them, so I don't mind getting to a little bit of Caps one here.
Yeah, Caps one is one of the top lines that stood out to me a lot here, basically because Florida does play with a very high pace, and if you're going to allow Kuznetsov and Ovechkin to go up and down the ice trading shots, that's probably going to go into their favor. And Florida is one of the is tied for 8th for power play opportunities given to the opponent. So, Washington generally does draw a lot of power plays. So far on the season, they're in the top 10 for power play opportunities. So they're in top 10 for power play opportunities. Florida's in the top 10 for opportunities given up. I do like that Washington top power play unit here, but I want to talk about the Florida second line, because we talk about, if you have high totals and high ownership, sometimes you want to dump down to the second line. And I see that the second line is carrying some ownership here, but Anton Lundell and Carter Verhaeghe in their sample together have 33 scoring chances per 60 minutes. Whereas Carter Verhaeghe and Alexander Barkov are at 35 scoring chances per 60 minutes. So Lundell and Verhaeghe together have been generating scoring chances at a rate nearly equivalent to the rate of Verhaeghe and Barkov. And we talked earlier this season about, Lundell being a future number one center in the NHL and all this. Like, he's been playing basically second line center minutes for a while now and has not looked out of place. I really, really, really like that second line here. One of my favorite filler lines on the slate, along with the Dallas line that I'll talk about a little bit later. But, Reinhart's on the power play one. So if you want to leave him off, I guess that's fine. But Verhaeghe, Lundell, Reinhart, absolutely one of my favorite filler lines of the entire night. Their offensive numbers, expected goals, scoring chances, just really, really good. So not worried about any Washington depth matchups. So Florida 2, I like. Washington power play, I like. On the blue line, our old buddy Gustav Forsling, poor guy on the IR, probably means a lot more minutes for guys like Montour and Goodass. So what do you think here?
At Awesemo.com, we love a good ass here, and he's 2,900. That's a 2,900 good ass to me. But like, also Mackenzie Weegar, Mackenzie Weegar, 4,700. He's gonna, he already sees a bunch of minutes, but at 4,700, I think he's a decent one off as well. If you can't fit in that Glad, Weegar, Montour makes sense. Radko Gudas. On the Cap side, there's not much there besides correlating with Carlson.
Yeah, and I do like Ilya Samsonov in that. I'll say that as well. Get access to all the great Awesemo Plus tools and content for nearly every DFS sport out there with an Awesemo Plus weekly pass for $29.95. This includes full access to all the premium content and tools on Awesemo.com, including player projections, ownership projections, our premium Slack channel, lineup builder, and a whole lot more. If you're a new user to Awesemo Plus Platinum, then you can take advantage of the promo code we have for this show, which is NHL Strategy Show, all caps, all one word. That's NHL Strategy Show for 25% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You can find the link to activate this coupon in the description of the video below. Of course, if you're only looking to play NHL DFS, then you can sign up for one of our Awesemo Plus NHL packages for as low as $3.95 a week. Stop guessing, start winning. Join Awesemo Plus today. All right. Awesemo, that's NHL Strategy Show, all caps, all one word, for 25% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum for first-time users. All right. San Jose, 2.5 implied goal total. Going into New Jersey, the Devils have a 3.0 implied goal total. The big news in this game is obviously the return of Jack Hughes. He's going to be back for New Jersey. Was it a separated shoulder or a sprained shoulder, something like that?
Yeah, something
to do with the shoulder. Yeah, he had been out for, I think, like 4 weeks or 5 weeks now.
It's rare that we actually know what body part the injury
it's not just upper body or general soreness or something. Now, the problem here is that they ran power play units, but they didn't run even strength lines. Now, we've been talking about this in our Discord. They said he's going to be playing the wing. Like, you look at the lineup and you look at the top 9, the only place that makes sense on the wing is in Jimmy Vesey's spot on the top line. Like, maybe they throw him in over Kokanen or something on the third line. Maybe they do that. But I'm wondering if they don't play him on the top line with Zach and Hischier. We just don't know until warmups. They just don't have line combinations. We just don't know. We're just guessing for now. So why don't you give me your take on this game, Josh?
Yeah, I see most like lineup places, including our lineup builder, have him on the top line. But I wouldn't be surprised to see like Tatar up on that top line, and they at least start Hughes down on that third line. But
I mean, I could see them just leaving it as is, and then like Sharon Govich had played on the fourth line quite a bit this year. They could just move him back down to the fourth line and put Hughes on third. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it does make a difference with the matchups, though. You know, like if Hughes is down on that third line, they're going to get the bottom 6 of the Sharks, which is just. But like, if they get that top line, if he's up on the top line, you're going to get Couture-Meyer, and you just saw them get absolutely annihilated by Couturier. But you know, obviously Jack Hughes makes a big difference up there. I don't think he's ever played wing in the NHL, but we'll see. It's hard to say what I do with the Devils, depending on where Hughes is. If he's on the top line, like I think I prefer him on the third line, honestly, just for tonight.
Yeah. At least for tonight, just for this match.
Yeah. I mean, even if he's on the top, like the problem is like he's been out for a long time and he's coming back. He's 7,100.
Yeah.
It's like.
And he's not like he was shooting more this year before the injury. But one of his big problems was that he wasn't shooting a ton and his shooting percentage wasn't great. And, even 2.5 shots, that's not nearly good enough for $7,100.
Yeah. I think what I'm going to do with the Devils, unless we get like full clarity beforehand, is like this afternoon before warm-ups at 6:30 Eastern, is power play 1 stack. Like I think that like Zacha, Hischier, Hughes, and Dougie, if you can fit them, and just hope that they're together on evens. If not, I'll be full stacking Devils too, because they're going to avoid Couture, and the hurdle line has been a bit of a liability defensively, to say the least. So I don't mind that second line. They're fully correlated power play 2 now with Hughes being back. They're playing great hockey. Dawson Mercer looks like a legit prospect as well. I hate talking up the Devils because I'm a Rangers fan, but at the end of the day, if they make me money, they make me money. So I really like the Devils second line. I also like the Sharks top line here. Fully correlated, 5%, 2.5 total. Not the worst total we were going to see on the road tonight. Timo shoots the puck. His numbers with Couture are great. There isn't like a shutdown matchup on the Devils that, is going to keep me fully away. Will I get there in 1 to 3? I'm not sure, but they're definitely going to be in my mix.
Yeah. Okay. I wrote up Jesper Bratt in my Power Plays article, and I started writing the article last night. And in writing the article, I had to write, like, I assumed like Jesper Bratt, Dawson Mercer, and those guys were going to be like 10, 15% owned tonight. We have Mercer, Bratt, and Janssen, the second line for New Jersey, at under 4% ownership tonight.
Yeah.
That line has just been absolutely outstanding this year. I don't understand why their ownership is coming in so low. 3.8 expected goals per 60 minutes, 5.3 actual goals. Like, this isn't a line that's shooting a lot and not scoring. They're shooting a lot and scoring. Yeah. I don't understand why they're coming in at 4%, but I absolutely love that for us. New Jersey too. absolutely in my mix against that San Jose second line. You mentioned how bad that San Jose second line is. Man, four goals against per 60 minutes. Sorry, 40% expected goal share. They're absolutely awful. New Jersey too, in the mix for a favorite filler line, along with Florida too for me here tonight. San Jose 1 is interesting for me here. Like if Hughes goes in on the third line, Jimmy Vesey on that top line makes that top line much worse. And Couture, Dahlin, and Meyer are coming in at very reasonable ownership, under 5%, perfectly correlated. And New Jersey's one of the most penalized teams in hockey. San Jose 1 is flat out one of my favorite top lines here tonight, just because of their ownership and because of the spotlight.
The Devils' penalty kill has been good, but they're still taking a ton of penalties.
That's the thing. If you give up 4 or 5 penalties a game, your penalty kill can only do so much. So, San Jose 1, New Jersey 2 for me out of this game. On the blue line, there's nobody that really sticks out to me. I think Mario Ferraro, 5,100, he's just a block bot. I get he can put up 8 block shots tonight, but that's just it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Damon Severson, 4,100 is the guy that's tickling my fancy. What do you think?
Yeah, same. If I'm using Devils too, it's going to be Severson. I see they move Burns and Carlson around on the power play, but 6,700, 5,400 respectively. Just this isn't 2016 anymore. Mario Ferraro would be the guy, but I don't know if I want to play 5,100. Maybe Jacob Middleton, but I think I'm going to look elsewhere completely.
I mean, I don't get Burns' price either. Yeah, he's blocking a lot of shots, but he has 5 shots on goal in his last 5 games. He's just not shooting anymore this season. He has 2.5 shots per game. That's not near good enough for his price. So yeah, don't want to play some Brent Burns. All right. Next game, Tampa Bay going into Seattle. Tampa has a 2.8 implied goal total and going to Seattle. Going into St. Louis, Tampa Bay has a 2.8 implied goal total. St. Louis also has a 2.8 implied goal total. Looks like Matthew Joseph may not play tonight. That for Tampa Bay. He had been on their second line with Killorn and Cirelli. I think he's officially a game time decision, but just something to watch out for. I think there's something to like probably on both sides of this game. So what do you like here, Josh?
Yeah, it's I kind of want to get behind Tampa a little bit here, but you look at how these lines are. They're so low event. They're just grinding it out. They're grinding games right now. It's just what it is. It feels like a John Tortorella. Let's muck it up in the neutral zone type of team right now. But Gabriel Fortier on the second line without Mattia Joseph. Sure. I don't mind a 2-man of Cirelli Killorn just because they're not getting any ownership right now. And Cirelli's been playing insane minutes, and he's 4,600 on the top power play. The Blues are a pretty decent team. Penalty kills, nothing exciting. You know what I mean? So I don't mind getting to a 2-man of Cirelli Killorn in GPPs. It's a 2.8 total on the road. It's one of the higher road totals tonight, but it's just hard to full stack anything on the Lightning right now with all these injuries. It's just
not to mention you're not really getting a huge discount on too many players. 7,400 Stamkos, 7,900 Hedman.
Yeah, I just don't want to pay the prices for them on the road. I'd rather get a comparable player at home for way cheaper. You know what I mean? So for me, Tampa it's going to be reserved to Cirelli Killorn just because they're under 10K for the two of them. They see top power play minutes, and Bennington is my favorite. No, he's not good. But on the Blues side, will they keep these lines together? We don't know. that's the big thing.
Well, they have been keeping I guess not Buchnevich, but at least Thomas and Tarasenko have been playing together a fair bit. So I think that's one duo we can rely on. Maybe the only duo, I guess.
Yeah. And is there news on Perron? I know he was hurt or.
Yeah, they're not expecting him to play tonight.
Yeah. So there's a good chance we'll see O'Reilly, Kyrou together. If Shen gets moved around, we don't know. It could be Barbashev up there. It could be Shen centering the third. We just don't know. So I think what I'm going to do with the Blues is just, if I'm going to stack Buchnevich, Thomas, Tarasenko, and just hope that they're together. The prices are fairly comparable. Tarasenko is obviously the most expensive winger. So if the lines are mixed up and you want to play Tarasenko, like swapping around isn't going to be the worst. But I'm having trouble trying to figure out what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like the Lightning's lines are very low event defensively as well. Like it's just going to be a slow paced game, I think. So the top line fully correlated on the top power play unit. If Shen's up there, he's 3,800 on the wing. He hasn't really done much since he came back, but I'm going to have some Blues top six in the mix, lines dependent. And then on the Lightning side, it's really just going to be Cirelli Killorn, but probably not in 1-3. This is an MME game for me.
Yeah. Same, like the thing with Tampa is a lot of their scoring comes from, not a lot, but a fair bit of their scoring comes from the power play. And the Blues have a really good penalty kill, like 7th by shot attempts allowed this month. I think like 8th by expected goals against. They're allowing goals, but save percentage on the penalty kill is very random. So it's just a tough spot for St. Louis, especially for Tampa Bay, especially on the road here. They are going to come in with very low ownership, but we don't even have them as very good leverage. You know what I mean? 4%. Yeah, 4% top two stack, 3% or 4% top two, 3% ownership. Like that's not, it just doesn't do anything for me in this game. On the St. Louis side, it's just, for me, it's about Buchnevich, Thomas, and Tarasenko. They're probably going to go into the second line for Tampa Bay, and without Matthew Joseph there, like Cirelli's still very good defensively. Don't get me wrong; he's an excellent two-way center, but Alex Killorn's not an excellent two-way winger, and whoever will take Joseph's spot certainly won't be either. So I do like that St. Louis second line the most in this game. On the blue line, should note that Eric Chernak may be back tonight for Tampa Bay. If he does, that would probably hurt the ice time of guys like Ryan McDonagh. So for now, I kind of like Ryan McDonagh for Tampa, but that's pending Chernak. Nobody else really sticking out. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. There's not much there. I'm sure someone will mention in chat to me that Justin Falk is 3,700.
Colton Parayko is 4,300, and if he's going the way he can, he's probably a $5,500 defenseman, right? So.
Yeah, he's in that Jake Muzzin no man land pricing. So if you happen to have 4,200, 4,300 left for that final spot, he's a guy I would slot in.
Yep. All right. Good enough. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you play in your first paid contest, and we will reach out via email with your coupon. If you need immediate access, email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 of site credit by clicking the link in the video description below, and that can be used to enter any Yahoo contest, including this Sunday's $1 million NFL Baller. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. Not a bad deal. Anybody who wants to get their feet wet in DFS, this is definitely a great way to do it. You get a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, so you get our tools behind you. God, I don't know why I phrased it like that. So you get to use our free premium tools and data as you get to learn DFS and get to learn the ropes a little bit. All right, let's move this along. Columbus, 2.6 implied goal total going into Nashville. 3.0 implied goal total. Expecting Merzlikins versus Saros in net. There's a line in this game that I wrote up for my Power Plays article, but I'll let you take this away, Josh.
Yeah. Columbus has mixed up their lines a little bit. They moved Voracek up to the top line. They moved Nyquist down to the second line. Well, they mixed up the second line completely. It's Nyquist, Cylinder, Texier, or however you pronounce it. I don't know. I kind of like Nashville one tonight. I know they're going to get the Jenner Bjorkstrand matchup. But fully correlated, coming in around 10, 11% is fine on an 8-game slate. They're not super expensive. We'll see how Columbus top line does with Voracek there instead of Nyquist. I would imagine it's similar. I mean, Voracek isn't the player he was on the Flyers a few years ago, so I don't mind getting to some Nashville won here. That Nashville second line doesn't really do anything for me. I mean, it's super cheap and they're a filler, but they're coming in at 5%. Like, I just don't want to do that. The top line for Columbus is coming in around 1%, which is interesting, fully correlated. The thing is, like, they're kind of expensive for the road. They haven't been performing well recently, hence the line changes. But fully correlated, 1% on the road, one of 20 if you're building 20, get you like almost 5x the field. I don't mind doing that. But the line I like actually is this third line here: Domi, Roslovic, Tranikov, super cheap. What are they? 5-3, 8,400 to full stack, coming in under 1%, fully correlated, power play too. They've actually looked pretty decent. They haven't been all together this season, but on their own, they've looked pretty good recently, especially Roslovic. I don't think you need to full stack them, but if you are trying to get in some expensive pieces, you can get two of them, like a Domi, Roslovic, Tranikov, et cetera. They're going to get a soft matchup from the Predators. So for a super cheap filler, I think they're my favorite spot tonight.
Yeah, I wrote up Nashville 1 in the Power Plays article this morning because 56% shot share, 57% expected goal share in their sample together. And we talk, you talk about Columbus ones, their play sliding recently. That's on top of the fact that, they've maintained a high event pace basically all year long. This is a line that likes to trade chances. So, if Nashville gets to trade chances all game long, I don't mind that chance of the Nashville 1 line getting there. Nothing for me from the Nashville depth. I just I think somebody posted in chat, when's Brian Johansson going to stop scoring? Because it's getting really frustrating because those numbers down in the Nashville depth, especially the Cunnin, Tolvin, and Johansson line, are just not very good, which is another reason to like that Columbus third line. They're going to see some of that Nashville second line. It's a good matchup for that Columbus third line. But I mainly like both top lines out of this game. Nashville 1, I mentioned their numbers. Columbus 1, their numbers have been almost equally as good. 3.4 expected goals per 60 minutes, 67 shots per 60 minutes, 67 shot attempts, and 3.9 actual goals per 60 minutes. So I do like that Columbus top line. I also like and just to back up your point about Roslovic and Domi and their sample together this year, 60 shot attempts, 54% shot share per 60 minutes. So they've been good. So yeah, Columbus 1 for me, or Nashville 1 out of this game. I agree with you. Columbus 3, nice little 2-man down there. On the blue line, in the Power Plays article, I talk about Zach Werenski, and the fact about Werenski is like he doesn't put up high shot or block rates, but he plays 26 minutes a night. So he has like 5 shot bonus or like 4 shot bonuses, like 5 block bonuses this year, just because he plays so many minutes. Nashville, one of the most penalized teams in the league. I think they're like 6th or 7th by time shorthanded. So I think Werenski makes sense as a one-off here tonight. Adam Bokvist, obviously at 2,600. If you need to dump down, go for a super cheap defenseman. I like Bokvist as the punt. What do you like here, Josh, for defensemen?
Same. And if you want to go to that second pair, Gavrikov, Bean, if you have a preference, Bean being away from Werenski, might be a bit concerned about his minutes. So I'd keep that in the back of my mind. Yossi, obviously, Jake makes me say it. But no, I like Yossi tonight. For the Dante Fabro stands, 2,600, you could do worse than him tonight for sure.
And he talked about Gavrikov. I saw some tweet about him the other day about his scoring. He has 12 points already this year. 12 points in 19. He's already equaled his output from last year in 55 games. Absolutely crazy start.
Got away from Torts, man. A little offense to your game now. Got some jam.
I was thinking about that earlier. This team is in a playoff spot. The top 6 has legitimately looked good, and they've been without Patrick Laine for most of the year too. Imagine if he was in there playing to his capabilities. Maybe they don't even need him. Maybe they should just trade him before he even comes back to the lineup. It just doesn't seem like they need him whatsoever. All right, moving along to our next game. This one is definitely going to draw a lot of attention. Arizona 2.2 implied goal total. They're going into Minnesota. Minnesota has a 3.5 implied goal total. Anybody that paid attention to the ownership rate last night knows that Minnesota is going to get a lot of ownership here tonight. Minnesota, sorry, is going to get a lot of ownership tonight against Arizona. Arizona on the back-to-back, and Vejmelka not starting, obviously. So going to be lots of ownership here, Josh. What do you like from Minnesota?
Can I just say, why is there 8-9% ownership on Arizona 1? They're going to get Eriksson Ek, Foligno, Greenway. Like, that's an automatic X for me.
I mean, obviously it's just ice time and price, right? Like, they should play 17 minutes with top power play, and they're like $3,000 each.
Yeah, and I guess, but like on an 8-game slate playing against an empty net, I don't think the Yotes should be 10%, but that's for another time. Yeah. Wild have a very big total. Their lines leave a little bit to be desired here with Zuccarello out. Rem Pitlick slots in, and he's a guy that's just the guy, but he seems to always get there, and he's 2,700. The thing is, like, Kaprizov, Hartman, they're going to be super high owned, and Pitlick's going to be super low owned. It's going to be like the Jesse Puljujarvi effect with McDavid. I think if you're in on the Wild tonight, you just add in Pitlick and hope he gets an assist along the way. Because I would imagine that trio is going to be way lower owned than, say, like Kaprizov, Hartman 2-man, or, Fiala, Gaudreau 2-man or something like that. I think you just include them. You could also power play stack. But the problem I'm running into with the power play stack here is, despite the Coyotes penalty kill being absolutely atrocious, I don't think I've ever stacked the Wild for their power play prowess. So, something's got to give here. I think you're 10. Okay. So I think you can power play stack the Wild tonight. If they're going to get there on the power play, this has to be the night. Otherwise, they'll never do it again. But all in all, Kaprizov, Hartman 2-man makes a lot of sense. Include Pitlick if you want. Even stacking that checking line, Greenway, Eriksson Ek, Foligno, their ownership, it was a bit higher than I honestly expected it to be. But I think as the three of them, they're going to be the lowest owned line. Fiala, Gaudreau makes some sense. Their numbers together are great. Freddie Gaudreau, power play 3,400, so he's cheap. If you want Victor Rask, 10% min price, like, I think I'd rather play Rem Pitlick than Victor Rask, but there's just a lot to like on the Wild side. And then the Coyote side, like, I'm out on that top line. That second line does nothing for me. The third line doesn't do anything for me. Like, you were mentioning how Capo Kakkonen just has awful numbers, and he could be one of the worst goalies in the league. There's just nothing that I can get to on the Coyote side that makes me want to take advantage of that. So maybe someone on the blue line, but I'm not playing Andrew Ladd in the year of our Lord 2021. It's like a Corinthians. Thou shall not play Andrew Ladd in 2021. But maybe some guys on the blue line like Ghost, but I'm out on the Coyotes.
Yeah, the point I was making about Capo Kakkonen in our Discord chat is his high danger save percentage. Now, high danger save percentage is obviously shots saved by a goalie from the high danger area, like the home plate area in front of the net. And a high danger save percentage tends to carry over better year to year, and that gives us an indicator of goalie talent. His high danger save percentage, now he's only played like 40 games in the NHL because he's only been there parts of 3 seasons. But in his 40 games, he's bottom 5 in the NHL, like bottom 5, right next to Carter Hutton. And Carter Hutton, I'm pretty sure, was legally blind for a little while. So, like, there's like, I'm not saying he is bad, because I don't like saying any goalie is or isn't, because it's a small sample, and it can jade your view too. Like, it can kind of like tunnel vision you a little bit. But Capo Kakkonen's numbers have looked real bad, and Minnesota is one of the most penalized teams in the NHL. Like, I think they're taking the second most penalties of any team in the NHL. So, yeah, like, I don't want to run out and play some Arizona 1 because they get an absolute awful matchup. But I think one-offing Shane Gostisbehere here, or one-offing Jacob Chikrin here, is just fine on the blue line. But that's it for me from Arizona. I'm not stacking. I'm not taking any of the forwards out of this game. I think the only forward, and I'm going to say this, and I mean it, I think the only forward I might play is mid-price Barrett Hayton from Arizona. Otherwise, for me, it's all about Minnesota. Hartman and Kirill Kaprizov in their sample together, 75 shot attempts per 60 minutes, 3.5 expected goals per 60 minutes. They are blowing the doors off the opposition. I think what I might do with Minnesota is I might actually power play stack them. I get the reticence to power play stack them because the Minnesota power play is bad, but the Arizona penalty kill might be the only thing worse than the Minnesota power play. And Arizona is also taking a lot of penalties, fourth most in the league. So I think it's a way to get different too, in case you're worried about Minnesota ownership, because we saw that ownership on Winnipeg yesterday. So something like an Eriksson Ek with Kaprizov instead of putting in Ryan Hartman or something like that. But I do like Hartman and Kaprizov as a two-man a lot here today. On the blue line, I think one move I actually don't like here is double defenseman for Minnesota, Brodin and Dumba. They're playing the same pair together. Brodin plays the top power play. Dumba plays the second power play. Arizona is absolutely awful. It feels like if there's a spot where a double D could come through, this might be it.
Yeah, and Dumba's price isn't like 7,000 anymore. 5,800. It's more reasonable for him. I don't mind that as well to get a little bit different. That's really about it. You want to play some Kyle Capobianco with your Ghost Bear? No, I mean, Ghost at 5K is okay, but other than that,
like I think Shane Gostisbehere is probably one of the most misunderstood players in the NHL, but we only have 7 or 8 minutes left. We don't have enough time to talk about that here today. What we do have enough time to talk about is the Awesemo Hall of Fame. Here at Awesemo, we love to celebrate whenever our subscribers win some money. You could be a couple $100, could be a couple 100,000, anything in between. It doesn't matter. We love to celebrate any of the winners here. So if you want to get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame, this is how you do it. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You place in the top 3 of a contest with over 5,000 contestants, and you tweet the wins to the Awesemo HOF account. That's Awesemo Hoff on Twitter. You do that, and you can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, but you can only win 1 free month per year. You can't keep winning if you keep winning year after year. You see a top 3 from, I think it was NBA yesterday, top 3 from Sixers fan for a $1,000 hit. You see Coleman or Michael Card coming in first place in the NBA pick and roll last night. But then you see the NBA jukebox for $50 from Baseball Wolf. Like, we celebrate the quarter jukebox wins, and we celebrate the Thunderdome wins equally. So congrats to all the winners. If you want to get in the Awesemo Hall of Fame, it's on your screen how to do so. All right. Before, like I said, we have 7 or 8 minutes left. Before we get too much further, if you guys could throw us a thumbs up, give us a like to help us look good for our bosses, click that subscribe button to help grow this channel, and click that little bell to get alerts whenever we do hit the air. All right, next game. Carolina, 2.8 implied goal total. They're going in Dallas. The Dallas Stars have a 2.6 implied goal total. 2 big pieces of news here for Carolina. One, Tony DeAngelo and Brett Pesce both in COVID protocols. And as I said earlier in the show, whenever you have players going in COVID protocols from a team, you have to watch the news from that team for the rest of the day to see if more players pop positive. So watch Carolina. And 2, Carolina might be running a 5-forward top power play unit. Now, Rob Brindamore would later say in the media that he was just trying something out and he wants to see how it works. But, I mean, like, I mentioned to you before the show that they don't like using Jacob Slavin on the power play. Dougie Hamilton's gone. Brady Shea hasn't run anything more than the second power play unit in 3 years. Like, they're running out of bodies. It could be a 5-forward top PP unit. So what do you think here, Josh?
Yeah, I would imagine they're going to at least try it. I guess. Like, I'm not super high on Carolina tonight anyway, even though it's Holtby. And the reasoning Rick Bowness gave for playing Holtby tonight is just hilariously stupid. But I don't know. I like Dallas in this game. I like the top line. And God help me, I like Sagan Kiviranta tonight. Their numbers together have been actually pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to get to them, but there's no ownership down there. I don't mind them as a 2-man. Pray for me, I guess. I don't know. But I think mostly I'm going to get to that top line, Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski. They're 5% at home right now. Their total isn't super high. But Carolina takes a lot of penalties. They're fully correlated on the power play. You can do the math after that. I like the Dallas top line here tonight. Ben Gurianov, decent two-man as well. The thing is, like, Svechnikov, Trocheck, Jarvis, Svechnikov, Jarvis in a sample together is very high event. They're not very good defensively, and Trocheck, is a pretty decent defensive center, but I can't imagine he stabilizes it too much. Just the way these lines are, like, I think this is a Dallas game for me. You want to get some of that Carolina power play because it is hoping net. I think that's perfectly fine. But like Carolina 1 is higher owned than Dallas 1 tonight, and they're on the road and they're more expensive. So I think I'm going to stick to Dallas 1 here.
The thing that worries me for Carolina, like I wanted to play Carolina tonight. I even wrote up Sebastian Aho in the Power Plays article this morning, but no D'Angelo, no Pesci worries me a lot. Those are their two best puck movers, man. I was looking at the offensive impacts from Evolving Hockey earlier, and by goals above replacement, which kind of measures a player's offensive and defensive impacts, Tony DeAngelo has had more offensive impact than every other Carolina defenseman combined this year. So you're taking him, and then you're taking the next best transition defenseman out of the lineup. And then you have Julian Chatfield, Ian Cole, Brendan Smith, Max Lajoie. Like, even Jacob Slavin's not really a good puck mover. He's more of a defensive defenseman. Like, Brady Shea might be the best puck-moving defenseman this team has tonight. And they're on the road in Dallas. Like, Dallas, goaltending has been shaky. I think the team has been starting to come around, Rick Bowness aside. I'm kind of out on Carolina here tonight. No D'Angelo, no Pesci just worries me way too much. I don't see how they move the puck from the defenseman to the forwards. I just don't. If I get that game wrong, if I'm wrong about that, so be it. But it's not like there's tremendous leverage anyway. 10% top two and 8% ownership for the top line. So like they're coming in a little bit better leverage, but it's nothing special. So yeah, out on Carolina. Dallas for me, I think it's the Ben Gurianov duo that I like the most. 56% shot share, 64% expected goal share. But what's really bringing me around to them is the second power play unit. Carolina is the most penalized team in hockey, and the second power play unit for Dallas is producing 100. And this is the unit with Gurianov and Ben and Suter and Heiskanen and those guys, not the unit with Hintz and Pavelski. The Gurianov, Ben, Suter unit. 117 shot attempts per 60 minutes and 12 goals per 60 minutes on the power play this year. They've been great. I think Ben Gurianov and Suter make a nice little three-man filler stack here tonight. If you don't need the salary savings, you want to take out Suter, put in Heiskanen, I think that's fine as well. All right, we got to get to this next game real quick. Coming up after us, we have the No House Advantage NBA Strategy Show with Eitan and Terry. NBA Deeper Dive at 5:30 Eastern with Laffy and Adam, and they're followed by the Jock Market Live Before Lock with Eric and Greg. All right. Anaheim, 2.5 implied goal total going into Los Angeles. The Kings have a 3.0 implied goal total. I'm just going to tell you real quick, I like Los Angeles too here tonight. Ante Kopitar without Victor Arvidsson on his line this year, 45% shot share, 41% expected goal share. That's a concern. Drew Doughty is a game time decision tonight for Los Angeles. Should mention that as well.
Yeah, I'm on Kings too as well. And then the problem is Sean Durzi, power play 1, 3,100. But if Doughty's back, he's going to go right into the power play. He's 6,900. That is a big swap. This is the only late game. I think you have to have like a 3-man swap ready. Like, I don't know.
I think the one we talked about before the show was having a lineup with Kopitar, Doughty, and Kempe. And then if Doughty's not in, you put Durzi in his place, and then you take, or not Kempe, like Kaliev or something. You take Kaliev out, and then you put Arvidsson in, or you put Kempe in or something like that. You just go down from Doughty to Durzi and up from Kaliev to, like Arvidsson or something like that. That's kind of the swap.
Yeah. So that's what I'm looking at. I think Doughty makes for a very good low-owned option if there's the news doesn't come that he's playing until warm-ups, because he's expensive and people aren't going to have the salary to fit. So if you have a swap ready, I think, he's going to come in very low owned. So I like that. On the Ducks side, that second line is going to be fairly popular for a road team. I don't mind it. That second line is fairly high event, but for me, this is a Kings game.
Yeah, I'm about the Anaheim top line here tonight. 2.7 expected goals, 66 shot attempts per 60. And I mentioned how much worse Kopitar's numbers are without Arvidsson. So not sure I'm going to get them to them in my 1 to 3, but I like Anaheim if I were 20 maxing here tonight. All right, we got to get out of here. Hat trick pick and goalies from you, Josh. For me, my hat trick pick is Matthew Shane, and my goalies are John Gibson or Ilya Samsonov. Who you got?
Yeah, I like John Gibson as well. I also like UC Saros. I'm going to go a little bit different tonight. My hat trick picks can be Jesper Bratt.
There you go. Jesper Bratt, Matthew Shane, your hat trick picks. For Tyler Zander, our producer, for our single entry assassin, Joshua Harris, I'm Michael Clifford saying good luck tonight, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.